Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Adobe Live. My name is Francisco Paco Siller. I am here with my good friend Paige. Hey, Paige.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, good. I'm excited for day 2 of our photo editing. We did some Lightroom magic yesterday. We're going to see some Photoshop magic today. So I'm excited for what's in store. Before we get into that, of course, we always have our housekeeping items. So first of all, let me go ahead and flash that schedule just to show you what we are working with. Where's my little button? There it is. Cool. So we had the Rework It stream with Claudia and Jesus, along with the Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge right before us. Following us is going to be an Illustrator Daily Creative Challenge, a graphic grab bag special with Andrew Hockrattle and Emily, the XD Daily Creative Challenge with Howard Pinsky, Draw Along with Kyle Webster, and of course a Creative Encore with Kimi J Designs. Good stuff. We have an action-packed day. That's quite a bit. One more thing that's going on today that's a little special compared to yesterday was an artist spotlight. So 30 minutes before the show ends, we're actually going to feature an artist that's been submitted to us via the little artist spotlight tab you'll see up in the top there. So cool. Now with all that out of the way, Paige, hi. Who are you?
Hi.
What do you do? Show us a little bit about the work you've done and just let us know everything there is to know about you real quick.
Yep. Hi, I'm Paige. Hello again if you're joining from yesterday. So I'm a landscape photographer and I do landscape and travel photography. I guess you can kind of consider it either or. I've been doing photography for like 3.5, 4 years and it's my passion. I love it. So it's basically, I spend probably 40 hours a week doing it in some way or another, whether I'm editing photos, going out and shooting. I do lots of sunrise weekend trips. It's my life. So
it's a job in itself.
I can teach you. Yeah.
40 hours a week.
It's a lot. So it's because I love it though. I wouldn't do it for anything else.
That's awesome. Cool. I'm going to hop on over to your screen, but before I do that, do you want to show maybe your website or an Instagram just so people can see some of your work real quick? Cool.
Sure.
So
of course.
On your screen now, here's your Instagram. Everybody give Paige a follow. She's got so much cool work there. You have no idea. She's been to a lot of national parks, a lot of cool shots, a great source of inspiration.
Thank you. Yep. I'm in Utah right now. I got into photography in San Francisco. So some of my more recent photography is a lot of Utah, but I try to keep it diverse. And, I still have the classic like Yosemite, definitely some of my favorite national parks. This is a mixture of photos from.
Is that post kind
places.
of the all-star post that you've done? There's a lot of cool ones.
I think this was like a recap from last year. So these are just some of my favorite photos that I took last year.
That's all you did last year. That's awesome.
Yes. Yep. So these are my favorites. So mixture of national parks and everything. So yep. I honestly travel all the time. I like to color coordinate my feed. If you didn't notice, I go from oranges to blues to greens to all sorts of things, just depending on the time of year. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. One more thing before we get into it. I have my chat over here. So if you guys see me looking over here, I'm not ignoring you guys or your page. I'm just reading the chat. And speaking of the chat, let's give a shout out to some people that are tuning in. We got Robert, Ferry, Michelle, Steve, we got Bruce, we got Sean, we got Clever, Bev, Wade, Farah, Simi. Oh man, so many people. Thank you so much for joining us. Go ahead and drop in the chat where you all are tuning in from. I always love seeing the global audience that we have, seeing where everybody's coming in from. So go ahead and do that. And again, we have Paige for the next about hour and 55 minutes. So if you have any questions relating to photography, photo compositing, Photoshop, Lightroom, now's the time to do it. We'll periodically check the chat and I'll pass along those questions to Paige. So good stuff.
Awesome.
All right, let's jump into it.
Alrighty, let's do it. Okay, so for today, I wanted to focus a lot on, photo compositing. Basically I did a focus stack, and then we'll do a sky replacement. So I can show you guys how I do that. So yeah, we can just jump right in. I did edit these photos already, just like my Lightroom edits, my very light Lightroom edits that I do before I put it into Photoshop. So we can quickly talk through what that looks like, just so that we can save a little bit of time and spend most of the time in Photoshop doing the actually combining all of the pictures. So I just put up the exposure. I shoot with Sony. As I said yesterday, you can shoot pretty dark with Sony. And so I definitely tend to shoot underexposed, and then I brighten it up afterwards. And then after that, when I'm bringing it into Lightroom, I dropped my highlights all the way down. I brought my shadows up. I'm kind of flattening the picture so that when I put it into Photoshop, I can actually, kind of control that light a little bit more. So I flatten the image using the light sliders up here. And then going down to colors, I made some really minimal changes. A lot of my pictures, I actually don't change the color a whole lot. It just depends on how it turned out and how it came out of camera. This one, I actually thought that it came out of camera really nice. So I just did a few different sliders here. I did down on the luminance for the reds, the oranges, and the blues. For saturation, I brought up the saturation so the bridge really stood out, and the oranges because it was that sunset. And then for hues, again, very, very minimal changes, just kind of adjusting some of the color tones. The reason I don't really spend a whole lot of time on this in editing, like when showing editing, is because it's very situational. If you put this exact same edit on one of your own pictures, it may not actually look very good. So you really have to spend some time like figuring out what your personal color style is, making sure that you feel really happy with it with the picture. A lot of people create presets, even I create presets, which are awesome, but it's really hit and miss on if it's going to work on every single photo. And so I think it's really always good to, even if you're using presets or something like that, go into this area, really customize it for that picture, make sure it looks perfect. So
nice.
And then we have our split toning. So as I did yesterday, we go down on the shadows a little bit and up on the oranges to kind of give it that warmth from like the light, and then the kind of cooler tones in the shadows. And that's all I did for this. So that's what I did before we're going to go into Photoshop. And let's see. So I'm going to push all of these photos. So we are going to do a sky replacement, and this is the sky. I actually took this photo on the same day. Surprisingly, it's to the left. If I like turned this, there was this beautiful sunset to the left of me, and right in front of me where I was trying to take my picture, there was nothing. So that's how that happens, right? That's life. So anyway, this is this is from that same spot, and we'll take this sky, we'll place it into Photoshop as well.
That actually happens a lot in that specific shot, because when you're looking at Golden Gate, you're really looking north, but if you turn left, that's west, and that's where you see those beautiful colors. So great planning with capturing that sunset too.
Yes, you have to think ahead for sure. So the other funny thing about this is I was focus stacking without a tripod, and when you're using a zoom lens, it turns out to be very difficult. So if you can see here, this first picture, I was focusing all the way back here at the bridge. So I wanted that to be really crisp and clear. I wanted to do a 2.8 for my aperture, just because if you take, like if I took this picture at like f10 or f11, nothing would be as sharp. Everything would be pretty clear. But since there's so much depth in between the bridge and these trees, it just doesn't look quite as good. And so I did take 3 separate pictures to focus stack. So I took that one to focus on the bridge. They're totally not aligned. We'll align them in Photoshop. I focused the second shot on this tree on the right. And then I took this third shot with the tree on the left. So all of them will have a clear, really focused portion of the image, depending on what we are going to show and what we're going to hide in Photoshop. So I'm going to push all this over there. So what I'm doing, if you want to easily get photos from Lightroom into Photoshop, you'll go to Edit In, and then you can open these all as layers in Photoshop, and that will just automatically push it into Photoshop for you. So it's really easy. And
while we transition, I'm going to shout out where some people are tuning in from. We got Gus from Ohio. We got Lauren from Los Angeles, California. Rob Sylvan from Southern California. What else? Yep. And then we got he also lives in Utah. Oh, they're talking about somebody else in Utah, which I believe where Paige is tuning in from. So.
Yes, that is where I am.
Cool.
Utah all day. Okay, it's still loading a little bit. There we go. I'm gonna exit out of this one that we did earlier. Okay, so I'm gonna hide my sky because I don't need that yet. So to do that, you just click the little eyeball down here on the layers. And then I'm gonna just align these layers right here. So I'm gonna select all my layers. I'm gonna go to, I believe it's File. Let me make sure that's right. Oh, just kidding, maybe it's Edit. Okay, Auto Align Layers right here. So when I click this, it's going to, you can kind of tell it how you want to align them. I want it to stack on top of each other and line up all of those different things. So I'm going to push OK. It's going to stack up my pictures so that I don't have to just like guess and try to put them in the right spot.
Easy peasy.
Yep, as you can see, they were not the same at all, which is fine because we have this great tool in Photoshop to fix my lack of tripod. Okay, let's see. I'm going to move them all into the center just to work with it. Cool. All right. So the first thing that we're going to do is we need to make sure that we're exposing the right portion of each of those pictures. We want the sharp portion showing. So I'm going to need to add layer masks to each of the layers. So this is the one that's sharp for the bridge. So that means I'm going to have to the sharp trees should be covering that. Just to make it a little easier, I'm going to actually put that layer at the very bottom so that it will be showing through at the end. So let me make sure that's the right one. I'm going to drag this and let's name it bridge so that we know that that's what's sharp. And then let's see what this one is. So this one is going to be sharp on the right tree.
We see Paige is naming her layers. So
I'm doing awesome. It just for you, also that you don't have to watch me get confused if I lose track.
Nice. And it'll probably be very helpful for this specific workflow too. So
it will be, yeah,
I mean,
it will.
You're looking at 3 of the same photos, so it'll be helpful to know which one's right, which one's left, and all that good stuff.
Exactly. Yes. Okay. Then let's start with this top one. So what I need to do is I need to erase everything in this picture except for the tree. So we have a couple ways that we can do that, but I don't want to, some people will erase, some people will use layer masks. If you can, I would always use a layer mask because you don't lose it. If I delete it, I'll lose it. And if I make a mistake, then I can't go back. So I think layer masks are always safer. So that's what I'm gonna do here. So I'm gonna create a layer mask. And then I've actually haven't tried it this way yet, but I think this might be the fastest way to do it. So I'm gonna select everything before I start brushing. Let me get all of this up here. And what I'm using is this quick select tool. Mm-hmm. And I'll have to go in and, oopsies.
We have a question from Simi while you're doing that, asking,
yes.
How do you manage to take a photo without a tripod, especially at 70 to 200 millimeter lens?
Yeah, it's a good question. I would say it's definitely better to have a tripod. Sometimes you don't have one, so you just don't have the luxury. At this point, I didn't have one with me. So what I do is I'll kind of try to create a base with my body. So I'll hold my lens and I'll put my elbow into my chest so that it creates almost like a tripod, and then I'll be taking the picture as well. And so I don't know if that makes sense, but you kind of, I mean, that's what I do. I try to just create like a more stable base with myself so that we can get it working well. So yeah, that's my suggestion. But I would say if you are using a longer lens, you'll have to make sure that you're not dropping the shutter speed too low. If you don't have a tripod, you'll have a difficult time getting it really clear if the shutter speed is is too low. So for example, if I'm shooting at 200 millimeters, you need to have your shutter speed higher than the focal length of your lens. So I would need my shutter speed to be higher than 1/200. I would want to put it at maybe like the 1/400 or something like that to really make sure that it's clear. The only time you should drop below the length of the shutter speed that equals the focal length is if you have a tripod. So if you're shooting at like with a 35 millimeter lens, you can go a lot lower. You could go to like 1/80 and it would still be pretty clear.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Did I explain that well?
Yeah, it does. Increasing that shutter speed is going to make things less blurry, especially if you're going handheld. Keep in mind though, the higher the shutter speed, the darker their image is going to be. So you either got to compensate that with an f-stop or the ISO, which you're using a Sony, so you could easily compensate for that with an ISO without it getting it too grainy.
For me, it tends to be okay. You have to be really careful though. So definitely watch out for that.
Yeah, Sean's saying at 1/1600 of a sec, there should be no shake unless you're falling. Yeah, it's a very fast shutter speed, super fast.
Yes. If you're shooting at sunset or sunrise, you may find that makes it pretty difficult with the light, because you can only drop the aperture to so low and you can only put the ISO so far up. But it is definitely like if I'm shooting with enough light, I'll for sure put my shutter speed up high so that I can have a very clear, very sharp picture. Alrighty, sorry, I'm just making this last thing a little bit better there. All right, so I tried to block off the picture a little bit. I think we're gonna get rid of this ugly branch up here. There's no leaves or anything, so might as well take that out.
Bye, branch.
And then we will just erase it with all this. When we put in this, it'll still be there until we do the sky replacement. All right, so now we're gonna use the brush tool. Make sure that we're brushing black. I'm gonna raise up my brush size and we're going to brush all of this right here. And let's see how this is looking. Oh, I have the opacity really low. Okay. I think that's working pretty well. I'm gonna shut my, I'm gonna turn off Lightroom or exit out of Lightroom really quick.
It's getting a little laggy.
Yeah, because I think sometimes if I have Lightroom open, it does get a little laggy.
Cool.
All right, hopefully that helps a little bit. Okay.
And are you plugged in, Paige? Might help.
Am I plugged in?
Yeah, if your power outlet is. There we go.
Good.
Cool.
All right, so that should be good there. All right, so now I'm gonna deselect and I'm gonna hide this layer. This is still at top. Oh, I don't know that I ever.
I think it's because the right tree might be visible.
I put the layer mask on the wrong layer. That's my bad.
Good thing you named it, because now you know which one is which.
I know. I think I put it on the wrong layer. Let me see if I got this right. So, right. I'm wondering if that doesn't, if this approach doesn't work quite the way I thought it would with like doing the masking. Let me see. I'm gonna hide this one. I'm gonna try something on this one here. So this is the left. This is funny. Did I name my layers wrong? I think I'm having a little bit of lag. I apologize for that.
No worries. We could always, if you need to restart Photoshop, let me know.
Okay.
And then we can go to the shot of us two.
Yeah, it's not pulling up this layer for some reason.
Are we looking at still being responsive? It's a little hard to tell from my end.
Yeah, I think it's lagging a little bit. Let me see how it's looking now. Okay.
Okay.
So I'm gonna get rid of this one. Let me just see if this is gonna work really quick. I'm gonna go straight into just the layer masking, make sure.
Is that working?
I'm not sure. This is kind of strange.
Do you have maybe a layer above that might be visible that's just covering all the changes? No. Okay.
No. Yeah, this is a little bit strange. I'm missing a photo is what's happening. It's not showing up. See, because there's that, which is good. Yeah. This is what we want. And then, yeah, this one is not, we're not seeing this layer for some reason. I wonder if I need to go back out of Photoshop and try to hop back in.
Okay, we can try that.
All right, bear with me. Thanks, everyone.
No worries. This is live design in a nutshell, everybody.
Let's see. Let's go back here. Lovely. Is it not gonna save it on my clip? That would be perfect. All right. Yeah, I don't know if it's good. I don't know if it did. Okay.
So you're trying to load up. Okay. Are you gonna fire up Lightroom again and then transfer the photos to Photoshop?
Yes.
Cool. That sounds like a plan. All right, come back to you. We're on Lightroom now. In the meantime, I would like to see if anybody in the chat knows which side of the Golden Gate Bridge this is. We talked about this a little bit before the show, but I'm curious to know which direction Paige is facing on that. We got Moat Void in the chat. Hey Paige, Paco, and Wade. Hey Moat, good to meet you. Good to see you again.
Hello.
We got a question from Chris in the meantime. He's asking, how many shots do you walk away with from a scene?
Ooh, that is a very good question. A lot, usually. It depends. If I'm using a tripod and doing long exposure, I'll walk away with a lot less. But if I'm doing handheld, I just click. Yeah. Especially if it's a beautiful sunset, I get really excited and I just want to take as many pictures as I can. So
it's easy to get trigger happy, especially if you have an epic sunset.
I will say though that don't get too trigger happy. It's not a good habit to be in, because
more time for you to.
You'll have
photos.
So many pictures when you get home to go through, and it's really tough. Sometimes I'm like, why did I take 10 photos that look the exact same? But yeah, I'll probably walk away with 50 to 100 pictures from one location if I'm shooting there for for an hour or so.
5,200.
Oh, no, 50 to 100.
Oh,
sorry,
52.
If I'm doing like a waterfall,
that's how much I take in a year. That's crazy.
No, if I'm shooting a waterfall, I'll walk away with maybe like 50 or something because it was all longer exposure. But if I'm not, then yeah, I'll walk away with like 100 plus if I'm doing handheld. So
we have some guesses on which side this is. Somebody's right. So Hugh is guessing from the Presidio side, and then Steve is guessing Sausalito. Well, Hugh, you're actually correct. This is from the Presidio side. This is actually from San Francisco looking to Sausalito. And then John says, I like the side where Godzilla showed up in 2014. Yeah, I think he showed up west. He would have came from the west, so towards the left.
Love it. All right. I'm trying to catch back up to where we were.
All right, round two.
Speed edit. All right, we can finish doing these trees. I'm hoping that we don't lose a layer this time somehow. That was very strange. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and block it all off. We can still keep asking fun questions in the chat too, because this isn't the most exciting part, I would say.
Good. We have a new friend joining us, Syed. Syed says, hi, Paige.
Hello. How's it going? Thanks for joining.
Thank you for joining, everybody.
Okay. Sometimes when you make these selections as well, something I like to do is feather it. I'll show you how to do that in a second, actually. This will make your, it just blends, makes everything blend a little bit better.
Is that what you're doing right now? Are you feathering the edges?
Not yet. I'll show you in 1 second after I get the edges a little bit cleaned up. Alrighty. And okay. I need to make sure that I'm not confusing my rights and left. Isn't that sad? I know. Okay. So left tree, this one needs to be sharp. So we need to erase everything over here on the right hand side. So what I'm going to do before this is I'm just going to go to my select, and then I'm going to go to modify. I'm going to go to feather, and then I'm going to feather it like five pixels or something like that. If you have a camera that has less megapixels, then you probably would only want to do like 2. So this is shot with a, I believe this is on my camera with 42 megapixels. All right, so I have that selection. I'm going to create a layer mask. Oh no, did it get rid of my selection? Totally did. Okay. I'm sorry. I've never seen this before. Let me get rid of that. We're going to go through the.
He's going to, yeah.
We'll just do it this way.
Cool.
So the reason I did the selection before is because it just makes it so that these edges will be really clear, but it's not behaving how I thought it would. So that's my bad. Okay.
No worries. We got Steve saying he rode his bike down the west coast of the U.S. from Vancouver and crossed that bridge. Nice.
I love that.
Gnarly bike ride. Yeah, that bridge is very, very popular to cross on a bridge. It's kind of cool. Over the weekends, they'll actually segregate it. So they'll have pedestrians on the right if you're looking from here, and then cyclists on the left because it can get pretty congested.
It's a little scary. Sometimes I look at those bikers and I'm like, I feel like they're very gutsy.
Oh yeah, they fly.
to be going on those roads. They're beautiful. I don't blame them for wanting to, but it's pretty crazy.
Yeah. There's a very cool hill right across this bridge called Hawk Hill. So it's super touristy. When you cross this bridge and you make a left, you start actually going up the Marin Headlands. And it's a beautiful shot. You actually see a lot of great photos looking from the opposite side of this shot at the Golden Gate Bridge and San Francisco on the shot. But if you just go over that, it's this beautiful road that drops you straight into the ocean.
Oh,
and if you're on a bike, you just bomb down that hill. It's so fun. Probably not the easiest hill to go down if you're not experienced, because it's super steep and super windy, but it's a blast if you're into cycling.
That actually sounds amazing.
It's super fun. It's probably my favorite, just like after work
type of
bike ride to do.
Just my chill after work thing.
Just a normal, like just Hawk Hill climb. It's whatever.
I love it. Okay. Okay. Cool. Alrighty. So I think I can get rid of this now. Alrighty. So that one is showing our left tree. Actually, I may need to go make sure that I'm going to just cover my bases, make sure that I've gotten rid of everything on this right-hand side with my brushing.
Okay. And for those of you that are just joining, what we're doing right now is we are doing some focus stacking. So what focus stacking is when you have one exposure and you have a zoom lens like Paige does, you either got to get the foreground or the background in focus. But if you take multiple exposures with 3 different focus points for the foreground, for the middle, and the background, then you can blend it all together so it looks like everything is super sharp. Really cool trick.
So you can see as I'm doing this, like I'm basically
Oh, check that out.
I'm
Yeah, there it
revealing the
is.
back photo so
Yeah.
that it's nice and clear.
Right, so it was blurry beforehand, but now she's blending all three images that are all in focus into one image. And we can see it literally happening right
Exactly.
before our eyes. So
Exactly.
cool stuff.
Got to get these edges really nice. So since I didn't do this with a tripod, I'm going to have to do a little bit of cleanup. So you'll save yourself with using a tripod if you have one, but it's not impossible to do without. Actually, that cleaned up pretty nicely.
Yeah,
Looks
it's looking good.
Pretty solid.
It's so satisfying just brushing away that blur.
I know, like revealing the clear.
Just revealing the super sharpness.
I know, it's so nice. So I'm gonna do a feathered brush when I get to some of these areas where the focus is gonna switch from being clear to not switch to, or sorry, clear to not clear, so that we can make sure that it blends nicely. So I basically made my brush completely soft as I could, and then I'm changing the opacity down a little bit, and then I'm gonna just kind of gradually do it on this area down here until I hit that line of where we don't want it to go over. It should be somewhere around there.
Nice.
Some people will focus stack with like 12 pictures to make everything absolutely perfect. So, because if you really wanted to get this perfect, I could have done one more focus stack just on this area right here, because this area is going to be a slightly blurry. I don't think it matters too much for this picture, but if you want to get things absolutely perfect, that's definitely something you can try to do.
How many shots do you usually focus stack with?
3 to 5. 3 to 5. Cool. Depending on how many things are in the photo and how far away they are from each other. So let's see, especially if you're using like a really low aperture, like 2.8, like I did with this one, sometimes you'll have to do a lot of stacking to make it all really nice and clear. And I think I need to go right here.
Cool. Let us know in the chat if you all have ever done some photo stacking, whether that's HDR, so high dynamic range, or focus stacking. Is that something you usually do when you're shooting photography? Do you try to get it all in one exposure? Let us know.
Let's see. All right, so there's a spot right here that's blurry. So now the fun game is to figure out which picture I need to be exposing right there. I believe it's the right tree. So I need to click here. I need to make sure that I'm on white because that's going to reveal this. There we go. Right. So sometimes it's kind of a fun game to try to make sure that you have the right picture showing in the right spot. Yeah. Alrighty, cool. So that actually turned out pretty solid. The one thing that I'm seeing is this little haze right here. So I'm gonna see if I can get rid of that. Can you see how there's like it's like a little blur line right there? Let me think about which one we need to, let's see if I can get rid of the bridge.
In the meantime, we have a question from Doru. They're asking, what filter do you use? You might have to clarify, Doru. Are you talking about an ND filter on camera that she may have shot, or are you talking about Photoshop filters? Let us know.
Okay. Let's see if this will work well. What I do sometimes, actually, we're gonna get rid of that when we do the sky replacement. So I think I might leave that to just eliminate a little bit of work. Okay. I'm gonna sharpen up this just a little bit. The other thing we could do is shift this tree over, but let me just get this line a little better. There we go, that's gonna help too. You want these edges to be very sharp. So that's kind of disappearing right now as I do this. This is great.
And you're just brushing that away on the layer?
Yeah, well, what I'm doing is I'm just exposing more of this left tree layer because I wasn't exposing enough of it. And so we were getting some of the picture behind it coming through, which is a blurry kind of hazy thing. So yeah. And then just clean up this little spot right here. Cool. Oopsies.
We have Moat saying, I did some focus stacking for macros last year. Season is starting soon, and I look forward to doing more. Nice. Yeah.
Awesome.
Macros
That's
and focus stacking, I feel like usually go hand in hand.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
That's really cool. All right. So we have that all lined up pretty nicely and it's exposed correctly. So now we have everything is really nice and clear, which is kind of impossible unless you focus stack. Like I actually, this same day I had took a picture with F11 for my f-stop and it didn't look nearly as crisp as this. So this is definitely a way to get everything really nice. So let's see, I'm going to copy all of these layers. If you want to just make a copy of them, you'll just hit Command J and it will make an exact copy. And then I'm going to merge them all together. The reason I'm keeping these down here at the bottom is because if we are in here editing and I see that I made a mistake at some point, then we'll have those down at the bottom to play with if we need. Alrighty, let's move our sky up here. So Photoshop has a really cool tool that allows us to actually do a sky replacement. But I think sometimes it doesn't like recognize that certain areas are part of the sky. And when I actually tried it on this picture, it didn't recognize that some of these areas up here were part of the sky replacement. And so what we want to do is we want to get comfortable with that tool. If it works, then it's amazing and it's so fast. And really all you do is you go up to, let's see, I believe it's on, let's see, edit. Sky replacement right here. So when you go to here, you can literally just like Photoshop gives you, it gives you like pictures that you can put in. It's actually pretty cool how it does it. So if you want to try using this, it will actually just replace the sky pretty much, I don't know, like pretty accurately. When you have kind of a weird sky where there's like a lot of things blocking it, you will still want to know how to do it in other ways, just to make sure that you always have a route that you can take. So I'm going to show you a way that's a little bit more just like that you can use if the other tool doesn't work, the automatic tool doesn't work. So let's see.
I think what you just said might answer the question that Angie just asked. Curious why you didn't edit / auto blend layers. I think that kind of goes on.
Layers. I don't know what she means by auto blend layers.
Yeah, it might be a feature where instead of just blending the layers manually, it might do it for you.
It does it for you. It like picks the sharpest. Yeah, so you can't, I always just like to show things manually just because I think that like, although like Photoshop has like some amazing, incredible tools, I think like it's still like an algorithm that's like deciding what to do. And it's still like, you know, it's not like a human eye that's going in here and saying like, this is exactly what it should look like. And so I find that just things look more perfect to me when I decide, you know, when I make that decision rather than just relying on the tool. So I think it's one of those things where it's like, you should know how to do things without using the tool and with the tool, because if the tool doesn't work, then what do you do, right? So I think it's important to know both and be able to do both. So that's my perspective. Hopefully that's helpful.
That's a great answer. Yeah, Photoshop has all like the sky replacement tool or even something like content aware fill. Sometimes it does a pretty dang good job at doing what you're trying to do, but sometimes it just doesn't nail it. So it's good to know how to do it manually just so you can kind of perfect it to your liking, because it's a computer guessing what you want basis you doing what you know you want.
Right. And I will say like content aware fill has saved me so many times. It's amazing.
That feature really turned me onto Photoshop for sure.
Yeah, it's incredible. Like they're really good. So but yeah, if that one time that you have a picture that you love and it doesn't work, like what are you gonna do? You know? Alrighty, so let's do a sky selection. So we're gonna go to select our highlights. And let's do, and this sky is like a ton of different tones. So this one's a little bit difficult. We'll have to do two different things here to get everything clear. So I really want to make sure that I don't mess up the bridge. So I want to make sure that I really get this perfect. Let's do it about right. About right there.
Michelle's asking, can I add my own skies into sky replacement? Why, yes, you can. That is
Yes.
exactly what Paige is showing us how to do right now. So,
Oh, I think what she's meaning, do you mean like adding your own skies into the
like the
auto sky
library.
replacement?
Yeah, let us know, Michelle. I assumed you were talking about taking another photo that you did of a sky and putting it on another photo, which is what she's doing right now, because she actually took the photo of the sky that we're trying to replace. But let us know if that actually answered your question, or did you mean something else?
Let's see. I thought so. Okay, let's try the selection again.
She's saying my photos of skies.
So if you mean like putting your photos of skies into this auto tool where it will do the sky replacement for you, you can upload your own photos. You just go in here and you, let's see, how do you do it? You can add your own sky somewhere in here. Oh, look, it's sky replaced for us a little bit. Actually, it works better today than it did yesterday. That's awesome.
Nice.
Let's see. But yeah, you can go in and you can add your own skies.
Yeah.
You can upload them here and find the
just
file and upload it.
Just find the file and replace.
So if that's what you meant, then yes, that's how you do it. Alrighty, so go select, color range. This is weird. I think I still had the selection from before, so it was messing it up. So now I need to go back in one more time. All right, okay, so as I go through and get rid of some of this selection over here, I just don't want to delete part of my trees. And what I did before is I was deleting some of these other pixels that I don't want to be taken out of the picture because they're not part of the sky.
Right.
It got rid of some of the, see when I do that, it gets rid of some of this here. So you have to be a little bit careful on how that goes.
Michelle saying, thank you both for answering the question.
Yeah,
of course, that's why we're here. This is a two-way street. Let us know what questions you have, what tips, and we're here to answer them.
Oh no, when did I do that? Okay, so what I'm gonna do, this will actually work as well. So I am gonna delete that. It deleted some pixels that I didn't want it to, which is actually okay, because what we, oopsies, okay, delete. And then I'm gonna go back down. See, I saved these layers for a reason. Nice. I'm going to create another copy of that background layer so that these pixels that I lost, I could actually brush them back in if I need to, because I can kind of layer this picture on top of that. So I'll show you that in a minute, but let's finish up the sky and then we can clean up anything that it deleted that we didn't want it to. Okay. And all right, so let's see. Okay, deselect. All right, so we can kind of see that it took away a lot of the stuff that we didn't need. I'm gonna move around my background sky so that it's in a good spot. The light is coming from the left, so you can see that right now the picture, the light is coming from the right, which we don't want. So I'm gonna go down here and I'm gonna horizontally rotate the picture so that it's directionally facing the right way. Right. And I'm going to get rid of the water because right now you can see all the water and we don't want that. So I'm gonna go drag it down like this. Beautiful, okay. And that should be pretty good there. And I don't think it deleted this part of the sky when we did that. So I need to go in and get rid of that part of the sky. So let's do that. Oh, and it just kept our tree for us. That's so kind of it to do that.
Yeah, the little dead tree that we tried getting rid of.
I'll get rid of it.
It doesn't want to go. Pesky
It's just,
little
yeah,
tree
it's
branch.
like, no,
Like, don't cancel me.
don't make me. Yeah, don't cancel. Love that. Okay.
Oh, pretty. Some
Let's
good
see.
colors hiding behind that.
I know. We need those popping out. I need it to get a little bit more specific.
We have people talking about favorite tripods in the chat. Out of curiosity, do you have a favorite one or a go-to one?
So I use a Mi Photo tripod, and I think it's good, but I actually think there might be better out there, if I'm being honest. So I have not found a tripod that I am like, this is the one. So actually, if someone out there has one that they love and they're like, yes, Paige, do this, like this is perfect, then let me know. Because
I have a go-to travel tripod that I'm going to throw out. I've been using it for, what is it, probably 5 years now. It's the Cirui T23 or 25X, I forget. But it's a carbon fiber tripod that weighs like 1 pound, just about 1 pound. And it's super foldable and super portable. So a lot of times I take my tripod when I go backpacking or on trips, and I just love its portability. So I'm not getting paid to say that. It's just a tripod that I genuinely think is pretty cool. It's super portable, super light. You definitely get what you pay for when it comes to tripods and just video gear in general. So you usually got to fork up a little bit of cash, but I can vouch for it. It's a good one. It's very portable.
I love it. That's awesome. Okay. Let's see. All right. So that's pretty good. I think we're still seeing some weird, I'm kind of confused about this. Let's see. Okay, so we have this. For some reason, and I don't know if someone in the chat knows what I'm doing, if anyone actually can see why this is happening. So for some reason on this layer, when I go to erase, it's not allowing me to erase. I don't know, Paco, if you have any insight on that. I feel like I must be having some weird clicking buttons today or something. I'm wondering why I'm running into some things I've never seen before.
You're trying to erase the right tree copy. Are you trying to erase the tree or that branch?
Oh, actually, this is actually the top copy, I guess we could call it. So this is actually all of that.
Okay.
I'm on my erase tool over here.
I usually just single out all the layers, right, one by one, and try erasing or seeing what has what. Just because if you usually have duplicate copies of one, right, like, and you erase it, but then the other layer has that. Okay, so maybe it's not allowing you to erase that. Is there something else at the bottom that is being visible, like on your layers panel?
Something else at the bottom? You mean down here?
Yeah,
no, there's nothing.
So that's
very strange.
That's stumping me. If anybody else knows in the chat what's going on and why that little pesky tree doesn't want to be canceled, let us know. I've seen the chat do amazing things and literally troubleshoot for people live all the time. So if you all know, let us know, because
yeah, this is
I'm
really
also being
strange.
stumped by that one.
Yeah, that's very strange that I can't. And it's weird too, because when I tried copying the layer, and then it just created a blank layer, which it shouldn't be doing. It should be creating an exact copy. So it's doing like it was before, where it's like this layer doesn't exist almost.
This is we have a comment from the chat saying duplicate layer below is showing. But I think we tried that because I was saying duplicate layer below is showing. Never mind left. Yeah. So he says never mind. So we tried that because we tried getting rid of all the layers besides that one, and it's somehow still not being erased. So.
Oh wait, what is happening?
What did you do?
I have no idea.
Why does it want to work this time? I am going to say this.
Hey, I'm just happy it's working.
I am going to say this. Paige's computer is somewhat haunted. So even before we started this stream, it was doing all sorts of things that I couldn't even explain. So I'm going to chalk it up to your computer just being literally haunted.
Paco knows things too. If he can't figure it out, then who knows? Who knows?
John says maybe the tree's against cancel culture.
I think that's most likely the
I think that's
problem.
what it is, yeah.
Yeah, that makes the most sense for sure. Okay, I'm just getting rid of this little branch I'm sorry, branch. So sorry. It didn't want me to cut off its
trees.
Its limbs. So sorry. Okay, here we go. We're going to be cropping this image in, so I'm not as worried about some of this top stuff, but I still want it to look pretty clean.
John, I see your comment about the tripod. Go ahead and DM me. So direct message me and I'll find it, because I was just looking through and they have all sorts of tripods now. I have to look up which one it is, but I don't want to forget. So send me a message and I'll try and send you the one I'm talking about.
All right, I'm going to get a very soft brush and kind of blend this into the sky over here. And this is when I can also use the select tool to make sure that I don't get all over these other areas. So if I go like this, then I won't erase my trees on accident.
Right, kind of set your boundaries to do the brushing.
Exactly. So that's what I was trying to do before with the layer masking. I don't know why I was struggling with it. Today, my computer does not like me. Okay, let's go back to our erase tool. Get rid of some of this. Oh, it's not picking up those pixels just because there's so few of them. That's possibly happening as well. Yeah, okay, that's all right. Okay, so getting close to those edges. Okay, so I'm gonna crop it down a little bit, so we don't need to worry too much about that right now. I do wanna make sure that we have this over here looking pretty good.
Bringing in those pretty colors.
Yeah, just wanna make sure we're seeing all those colors. Sometimes with brushing, you have to be a little careful because it's going to layer on top of itself if you unclick, and then it's not going to look as smooth. Get right in this corner. Cool. All right, and then we're going to crop out this right side of the picture just because it's blurry anyway, because we only had a clear picture up into the edge of that tree. Let me see where we're going to crop to, and then we can decide how that's going to look.
Okay.
Let's do if we're going to do Instagram, it's going to be a 4x5. Let's get it really in nice and close. Right there. Okay.
Nice.
I'm going to straighten it out a little bit, but I do like that crop. So we're going to go here. Make sure that it's lined up with this bridge vertically.
Are you doing that by eyeballing the lines in the trees?
I'm doing it by the bridge actually. So
got it.
If I'm looking, if I'm saying if I'm saying the bridge is straight up and down, which I actually don't know that it is. I actually sometimes feel like when I'm shooting the bridge, when I'm shooting the bridge, sometimes I'm like, I swear that thing is not straight up and down. Okay. Yeah, we'll call it good about right there. All right. So let's let it crop. And then I'm going to show you how to clean up this right-hand side, and then we're going to do some other finishes. So you can see how we didn't have like a lot of good stuff happening over here. I didn't have any clear pixels to replace over this because this picture ended right there. So we can do some fun, cool tricks. I'm going to find that line where it's clear, which is about right there. Let's see if I got that right. Okay. Now I'm going to push Command J, create another layer. Okay. And then I'm going to select that layer, hold Shift, and I'm going to drag this over like that.
That is a cool trick.
So, and then it kind of like replaces it. It did a little bit of weirdness there because it really stretched out the tree. You can see that kind of like, so sometimes you have to play around with how much you do. I'm going to start it from right here. And I'm going to try it one more time. Going over to the side. And I'm going to have to change my crop a little bit because I don't think that looked quite right to me. So let's just see where that kind of limit is, where it might not look. Oh, oopsies. Okay. Actually, we could even go right about here. My wonderful trick is causing me issues. Okay.
Is it just the texture that's looking a little wonky for you?
The texture looks weird, and then if I drag it over from like where the sky is, then it's not working the way I wanted. But it's just because I haven't combined these two layers yet. So yeah, basically what's happening is I have the sky separated from the tree. So if I start over here and drag, I'm just dragging the tree and then it's showing the sky. So what I need to do first, I guess, is just kind of clean this up a little bit more to make sure that I'm not dealing with that same thing. Okay, so I'm going to create a layer mask.
Talking about the bridge being wobbly, I actually have a fun fact about the bridge. Maybe you've heard of this before, but when they just built the bridge, I forget on what year, they had a day where they stopped all cars and they actually allowed every single person to just stand there with no car traffic. So what happened is so many people came for that day and stood on the bridge that the bridge almost collapsed.
What?
A fact. Look it up. Yeah.
That really happened, huh?
Yeah, you think about all the cars there, you're like, man, how much weight can that take? Well, apparently almost not enough if you replace it with a bunch of people.
Wow, that's actually pretty crazy.
Yeah, I'm sure it was wonky then if someone took a picture.
Okay, now these edges are looking a lot better. Okay, so now that I did that, I can combine these layers right here so that I can do that drag and use more. So it's gonna mess up the texture sometimes. I'm gonna copy them and then merge. So I'm copying them and then merging so that we don't lose that. Okay, so now when I drag it, it won't just be dragging one layer. It's gonna be dragging both, which actually might look a little bit better. Let me see if there's other little things I need to do. There's a lot of steps to this, so bear with me. So the last thing I'm going to do before I drag it, just because then I'm going to start manipulating like the way it looks, I'm going to take this copy of the picture before we added the sky replacement, because if you remember, we deleted some of the pixels that were on the trees. So I'm going to create a layer mask, and I'm just going to paint back on the areas where the tree was, just to make sure that that's all crisp and clear. Nice. So let's see.
Yeah, Norgos, that bridge died a lot in movies. Yeah. Hollywood loves to just destroy the Golden Gate Bridge. This was very memorable. Growing up, I was really into the X-Men movies, and there's a scene where the villain, I think Magneto, like takes the bridge and then uses it as a bridge between San Francisco and Alcatraz.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so he like literally picks it up and then he makes it a bridge now between, I would guess it's like the northeast side of the bay, and it connects Alcatraz. I was like, is that even actually technically possible? And I looked it up and it's not. The bridge is not that long, but that was a cool idea.
That is actually pretty
Hollywood
cool.
just loves to do all sorts of things with the Golden Gate Bridge.
They love to do really fun things for sure. Okay, so see how I like lost some of those pixels? Now I'm just
Yeah,
painting
you're
them
bringing them
back
back.
in.
Nice.
Yeah. Almost
Non-destructive
forgot.
editing. You got to back up. I love it.
I know. I almost forgot to do that, so I'm actually glad that I remembered.
The Golden Gate Bridge is the Sean Bean of bridges. Oh, John, you kill me. That is so funny. Do you get that reference, Paige?
John, no, I don't.
Sean Bean is this actor. He was in Game of
Is
Thrones,
he the guy?
Lord of the Rings.
Is he?
He dies in everything. So literally, the guy can't take a TV or movie role without just dying at some point.
Oh my gosh,
that's pretty
so
funny, John. John with the zingers never fails. Cool. Have a look at that countdown, everybody. That is the Artist Spotlight Countdown, which means in about 30 minutes, we're going to go ahead and look at our featured guest. We'll spend about 10 minutes looking at him, giving him some love, and then we'll have a little bit more design time. So that'll be in about 30 minutes.
Cool. Alrighty, so now that we've merged those layers and we've cleaned it up, I think we're finally ready to actually expand this side to make it really nice and clear. So I'm creating a copy of that, holding shift, and I'm going to drag it until I feel like the texture doesn't look good anymore. So I'm going to probably stop it about right there, and then we can crop in the picture just a little bit more. So we'll stop there and go to my crop, and we'll go right there. So I kind of cheated, basically. You can kind of stretch the sides of your image if you need them to fit in, like for example, a lot of times when you have pictures for Lightroom, pictures from your camera, they're going to be a 2x3 crop. And if you need to post them on Instagram, or you have another frame that's going to be like 2x or 4x5 or something like that, I use this type of thing a lot, where I like stretch the sides or something like that, just so that it fits within the Instagram crop. If I'm just printing it, I actually like 2x3 crops better. But for Instagram, this is always a nice trick.
Nice.
Okay. Cool. So now we have that. So the thing that I want to point out right now is like, this is like, okay, cool. Like what a great sky replacement, but it doesn't actually match the lighting, because if the sun is this harsh and actually shining onto things like this, usually you're not going to have these same colors at the same time. So someone who shoots a lot of pictures and shoots a lot of sunsets will look at this and instantly know that it's fake, because the lighting doesn't, like, it's not realistic. Like, you can't have this color of clouds when the light is shining like this, typically, right? It would be a pretty crazy sunset if that actually happened. So, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna merge this together. I'm gonna kind of use dodging and burning a little bit to soften some of these harsh lines, to try to make it look a little bit better. So let me go into
our favorite tool, dodging and burning.
I'm sorry, you guys have to watch me do it so many times.
No, not at all. We talked about this yesterday, how dodging and burning will really bring your photos to the next level. So
yeah,
to do the authenticity we're going for, I mean, you got to start messing with things like this.
Yep.
And I think it really does give that look to the photos that we see so prevalent across your portfolio. It's a really great I'm
Yeah, it's my favorite method for sure. Let's see. Okay, so I'm gonna use mid-tone. So I like the effect that it puts on the tree. I like how it makes it kind of a glowy look. So I am gonna lighten this a little bit, and then I'm gonna go in and just like darken some of these harsh lines. But I mean, you can get real fun with this. I love like brushing the bridge, really making it pop.
There it is. It's coming to life.
Yep.
We got a question in the chat a little bit ago. Fairy's asking, how do you calculate the shutter speed and the ISO?
So I don't know that it's a necessarily calculation. So for me, my kind of rule of thumb with balancing all three, like aperture, shutter speed, all that, I would say that you should set your aperture first, but you want to try to keep your ISO under 400 for Sony. For other cameras, it might be lower. Do you know what it is for, what do you do for Canon, Paco, for
Canon,
ISO?
It depends. I know when you're shooting video in Canon, the native ISO is 850 or 800. So that might translate to photography. I'm not sure. I usually just do the same thing. I try and keep the ISO as low as possible, especially with the older model I have. Anything past 3200 ISO on my 5D3 is already looking pretty crazy.
Gotcha. Yeah. So that's kind of how you do want to keep it low, but I can go up to about 400 on Sony without it really making a big issue on the picture. So I'll try to keep my ISO 400 or less. And then your aperture is really important because it stylizes the picture a lot. So do you want something in focus? Do you want something not? Like, that's a pretty important stylistic choice. And so then I will decide, like, okay, do I want this to be like all clear? Do I want something in the background to be blurry, something in the foreground to be more sharp? And then based off of that, then I decide my shutter speed. And so if I have like my ISO all the way up to 400, I have my aperture to, 5.6 is what I want it for, let's say. If I have it there and then it's still too dark, then that's when you have to get a tripod, because you can't, sometimes with the shutter speed, like you can only like move it so much. And so for shutter speed, I always try to keep my if I'm doing handheld, I always try to keep my shutter speed higher than the focal length, like I said earlier. And then basically like the other two are more like stylistic choices, and then ISO you try to keep low. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, I think that's very well said.
Let's see. Okay, so I'm going to switch over to burning. Burn tool. Here we go. Okay. So for this, one thing because what can happen is that like this time of sunset, if there was this many clouds in the sky blocking the sun, there would be a really pretty orange glow that would be coming into the scene, but it wouldn't be like this harsh. It would be very dispersed light. So there wouldn't be like as hard of edges along like the light here. So I'm going to go to these edges and kind of try to blur them out a little bit to make this look more of like a glow rather than like harsh light hitting the trees.
That's a good point. Usually when you get those clouds, the sun's kind of getting towards the horizon, right? So it's just bouncing off into the bottom of those clouds. But when it's a little higher,
it's just bouncing off everything.
Yeah. But when it's a little higher, it's more directional and it gives it kind of stronger shadows.
Exactly. So that's one of my biggest pet peeves. Yeah, it's my biggest pet peeve with sky replacements is when you put pink clouds that only come after the sun is like already setting, and then you can tell that the foreground had different light.
I don't know about you, but I've definitely called it early thinking the sunset was a bust, and then all of a sudden you get just insane pink clouds, and I'm like,
yes,
no.
Absolutely. Yeah, sometimes they come like way after the sunset.
Way after, exactly. You usually have a good idea knowing when the sunset is depending on the season. And just from shooting in the past, you're like, well, this is prime time. And then sometimes it's like 30 minutes after that. Or like the sun's practically going down. So.
I know. That's happened to me so many times.
Oh, yeah.
The slow burns is what I like to think of. The slow burns. They just keep burning and burning and burning and burning. So you can already see that made that look way less harsh. Now it's kind of like more of a glow light that's hitting it rather than like harsh. So I'm going to kind of do that over here as well.
We have Jordan joining us, made it from the chat instead of YouTube. Yes, I didn't even say this. Thank you for reminding me, Jordan. If you all are joining us on YouTube, hop on over to Behance. That is actually where we're looking at the chat. So not really monitoring the YouTube chat. We got a Behance chat live open here, and this is where you can engage with us. So come on over to Behance.
Cool.
It's where the conversation's taking place.
Awesome. Cool. Almost done. So just kind of loosening up that glow a little bit so it's not so much looking like harsh light. I'm going to darken this down here. And I don't know about you, but I feel like it looks way more realistic. Maybe I'm crazy, but
no,
I think because we're looking at like that versus that. This is much more realistic lighting for this type of a sunset.
I would say lighting can pretty much make or break a composite, right? Anybody can. I mean, compositing is pretty easily putting two photos on top of each other, masking out the other one. But when you really start paying attention to light and the way light should behave and making it blend into a photography, that's when you really start to get it looking Very, very natural. So this is an important step.
It really is. It's probably the most important step because anyone can do a sky replacement, but not everybody can really make it look believable.
Yeah.
I'm just dodging some of these little like things down here that I think are pretty. I'm gonna make the water.
Lone windsurfer.
I know. I hope he's okay down there. Okay, cool. Cool. Just wanted to make the water kind of glow a little bit more. I am going to just do some final touches. I'm gonna get rid of this because it's ugly. So let's go to the what is this tool called? Wow.
The
heel.
The heel.
Yeah.
Something heel.
Yeah, the heel tool. Right there.
Canceling the fence. Later.
Canceled. Oh, it's thinking that it wants to. Sometimes it will think like it does a really good job, and then every once in a while it's like, I'm gonna put a wave in the middle of the sand. Thank you for that. I appreciate the
super
effort.
Realistic. Nailed it.
Yeah. So sometimes the clone will work better.
Yeah.
Tool is just, or the heel though is so fast.
It's kind of what we were talking about earlier, right? Like this one, it's a computer. Does a pretty good job, but sometimes you got to go the manual route.
Yep, and that's more of the clone stamp tool.
Right.
So, oh, that's pretty good though.
Nice.
Sometimes I'll even do, if it has like, because you can still see like some weird lines right there. Sometimes I'll go to the clone stamp and then I'll just drop the opacity and then I'll like almost just kind of blur it. Like I'll be like clone stamping on top of something just to kind of like blur it a little bit so that it's like not like a strict line. Anyway, sometimes that effect will work, but I think that looks pretty good. I think we're looking at this down here. Let's get rid of it really quick while we're at it.
Jean brings up another good comment. Perspective can also be tricky with composites. That's another big one.
Yes, definitely.
You know, it's kind of like with the foreground, background, and just a little bit what we did yesterday with the atmospheric haze, right? Naturally, if you're looking at something super far away, it's going to have that natural atmospheric haze. And if it's super sharp, then, you know, it's kind of a dead giveaway that wasn't real.
Yep, exactly. We could put some haze on here. That's my signature look. I wasn't planning on doing it on this picture. It would have been probably the most proper time to do it would be before we merged like this left tree into the picture, because we'd want to put the haze behind it. But even without that, like you can still add a nice effect just like on top of the picture using it. So if I wanted to put a little bit like of an orange hazy look, we could still make it look really pretty without having to go back in time.
For sure.
So I could.
Yeah, if we have time at the end, then maybe we can do that. Unless you want to knock it out now. Up to you.
I was just gonna go like, I was just gonna add it on top, honestly, instead. Cool. Especially mostly like over in here. And then we'll switch it to soft light. And there you go.
Signature Paige look. There it is.
So it just adds that slight bit of like hazy effect, which I think is really nice. So
nice, nicely done.
Yeah, so I think this is pretty good. After like, this is like as many things as I could think of doing to this photo. So, I mean, you could add all sorts of things if you wanted, but this was a very manual way to do this. If the tools aren't working, if the sky replacement tool isn't working, it's not auto aligning. This is definitely the way that you can do it, all step by step.
Nice. Yeah, you just touched up on a question we usually get in the chat. Is like, when do you decide your photo or your project is done? It's like, well, when you decide it's done.
When you decide it's done.
You could literally do so many things to a photo, but I mean, you're the one in control. So if it's done, it looks good, then it's done. It looks pretty solid.
I know it is really hard to decide when it's finished because like I am a very huge perfectionist, and I will start over if it doesn't look good. And so sometimes it's just like, you just basically say like, okay, I think this looks good. Sometimes to help too, if you're like editing and things like that, sometimes sometimes I'll look at a photo of someone else's, not my own, because I think it's really easy to critique your own. I'll look at someone else's photo that I just think is beautiful, perfect, and lovely. And I'll take a look at that and I'll say, okay, this photo looks done to me. I'm going to try to get my photo to a similar place before I feel like it's done. Just because like sometimes when you're first learning how to edit, it's really fun to kind of try to either mimic someone's style or to like, you know, kind of take inspiration from someone. And then once you kind of learn all the tools and learn like what you like and don't like, you can really branch off into your own like really unique style. But when I started editing, I would stare at other photographers' photos that I liked a lot to try to think like, how did they do that? How did they do this? And then like, why did they decide to finish then? And why was it done? And yeah, so I kind of just take a lot of inspiration from other photos too, if I can't decide when to be done.
Yeah, that's great. I think people sometimes are worried about that they're copying or stealing other people's works. The majority is most of what you've seen has been done by somebody else at the other time. But when you're learning, drawing all that inspiration and just replicating other people's work is a phenomenal way to honestly teach yourself some of these apps. And then once you just keep learning, keep inspiring, then you'll take all those things and put your little twist on it, and then you'll kind of have your own look to it. So yeah, I agree 100%. Exactly. Very well said. Cool. A little bit of a time check. We have about 14 minutes before we dive into the artist spotlight. Then we'll have maybe 15 minutes more of work. So we got a little bit of time before we dive into that.
Good. Okay. Sounds good. Let's see. So I think what I want to do is let's go back down to here. So I'm going to do another kind of mixture of photos. So one good and bad thing about like having other people take your photos is sometimes as much as you try to explain like what you want, sometimes it just doesn't really come out the way you were imagining. And sometimes I'll get back and I'll see the pictures and I'm like, oh crap, like I should have had them take one from this exact angle. If I'm not behind the camera, I can't really I can't make things, I just don't have the control to make things exactly how I want. So sometimes, not often, but sometimes if you need to, you can really get fancy with combining different pictures to get a perspective that you didn't get before. So that's what I'm gonna kind of talk through. So let me put all of these over into Photoshop. And we'll just get as far as we can in this picture today. We'll see where we get to before we run out of time, but hopefully we'll be able to get through a lot of it. Okay, so does anyone know where this place is? No, it's actually, so what's so funny is this place here, everyone thinks this is Horseshoe Bend. And then this place here, everyone thinks is Monument Valley. But this is actually, okay. It is, yeah. Yes. So this one is Moab. This one is technically Canyonlands, but they're like super close to each other. So. That's so funny. I posted a video on Instagram that had, I was like highlighting places in Utah, and it had this place as well as this place, and everyone was getting mad at me. They were like, there's places, the places that you're showing are in Arizona. And I was like, no, they're not. It's just funny because a lot of people don't know that these are actually in Moab, because they look very similar to those other places in Arizona. So it's a Utah version. It is. There's amazing stuff. Yes. Okay. So this photo I think is really cool, but I wanted a wider perspective that I didn't get. And I also think that compositionally, I would prefer for these right here to be higher, because I think that would create a nice, like a zigzag line across the picture. So it's going to go like, I want them to be up here, and then here's a person, and then I want it to go back down this way. So I'm creating like almost a leading line. So I'm going to mix it with this picture back here. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to try to get rid of me as a little person on this back layer. because I don't need me. So I'm just going to do content aware. So
I just realized you were having a one-way conversation, Paige,
Oh
because
no.
I was muted for the past like 3 minutes. So thank you for letting me know, chat. I have this little stream deck I'm trying out, and sometimes the buttons just don't register when I turn my mic on and off. So thank you for
Oh,
letting me know. I was
that's
guessing
super
where
funny.
it was, and I was guessed incorrectly, but then I guessed Moab, and we got it right. So that's probably the extent that you missed with our
Oh no,
conversation.
so they only heard because I heard you, so they didn't
You
hear
heard
you.
me because we're talking through Zoom, but
Oh
the
no.
broadcast, my mic was muted. So
Oh, I see.
probably
That's
for a
so
hot second,
funny.
it looked like you were just talking to yourself, but it's all good. This is
You
live
know
streaming.
what?
These things happen once in a while. So, but
I
thank you for letting me
know.
know, chat. Otherwise, you would have literally been talking to yourself for a very long time.
That's pretty funny, actually. Okay. It's not unlikely that I would do that. So, okay. All right. So I selected myself as a little person, right? And then I'm going to do content aware fill.
We talked about this.
Yes.
Literally
And what I'm,
straight Photoshop magic.
it really is. We'll see how it works. I actually, like we said before, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. If it doesn't work, then we'll use clone stamping.
Right.
So I'm just selecting like a lot of this stuff that's around me to try to tell the computer, like, fill this space in with one of these things, basically is what it's saying. And so we'll see how it does. And then if not, we'll do the clone stamp. We'll give it a second. All right. And it doesn't need to be perfect because I just need it to look like I just need me to be gone so that I can do easier work with it. So I'm gonna do okay. All right, that actually is pretty good.
Wow, yeah, did a solid job.
Yeah, alrighty. Okay, we'll leave that there. It turned everything a little bit green, which is funny. That's okay though. I think we'll be all right. If we need to go back over it, then we can. All right, so now I'm gonna go in around those edges. I'm gonna merge these together. And I'll use the heel brush around where it's doing it. Oh, I'm gonna do a smaller brush.
We have Eric Sue in the house. Eric, welcome, my friend.
Hey.
Good to see you. I believe he is a fellow. What do you call yourselves? Utanis or
Utahns? I don't
Utah?
know.
Maybe
Utes? I
Utes.
don't know.
Maybe Eric knows.
Well,
I believe
there's
he
like
lives in
a
Utah.
university
So
that calls, oh, that's cool. There's a university that like they call themselves, it's the Utah University. They call themselves Utes. So maybe
the
that's what we call
Utes.
ourselves.
That's easier.
Yeah, it is. It is a little bit. Okay, so that did a pretty good job. Good enough for the purpose that we need it because we're not just like leaving this picture. We're going to kind of do some fun moving around. So I need myself up here. All right, now I need to get rid of all this stuff in the back. So I'm basically just going to select all of the sky and then I'm gonna get rid of it. So okay, we'll do select and delete because we're not going to need it later on. Like I said, sometimes it's a little nerve-wracking to delete stuff because if you need it later on, you won't be able to get it back. So sometimes I just have to think really carefully on if I'm going to need it and if I can delete it. Okay, actually, before I do this, to save ourselves, I'm going to copy this layer and put it at the bottom just in case we need it.
Little safety net.
Little safety net. Seriously, yeah, there's been so many times when I haven't done that and I'm like, oh my goodness, why? Okay, put it down there. And oh no, sorry. Okay. Oh my goodness, struggling. I need to delete just this little thing right there. Oh, it's doing that. Okay. Okay, here we go. Let's get this done. Ooh, I'm gonna try a different this might work actually. So selecting is kind of a pain, it just takes a while. So sometimes you can use select subject and it does a fantastic job. Wow, literally, look at that.
Ooh. That is another tool that I think
exactly
is just
what I
some
needed.
voodoo magic.
I know, it's really crazy. I mean, there's a few things I have to clean up with it, but man, oh, look, it's cutting off my eyebrow. Let's get rid of it. Include some of my hair. Wow, it really does get that edge really perfect.
So Eric Sue did chime in saying Utahns. So I think we were right.
Yeah, close enough.
And yes, the U of the U students are the Utes.
Yes. I did not go there for college, but I had many people that I knew did. I don't know. So it keeps wanting to bounce out there. I might just have to deal with that. No, come on.
I wonder if if you hit Option, you can subtract while doing it. So say it selects the other one again. Yeah, so what you just did, the hotkey is hitting Option while doing it. So maybe when it gets that background, you just tell it to subtract what it's trying to get, like the whole top right corner. Work in reverse. Sometimes it'll do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like right there, and then hit Option, and then get rid of all that. Oh,
I think it's gonna.
I just got that tiny little circle. How funny.
That is funny. I think it's just getting confused about my shirt. It thinks my shirt's the background, which is fine. So, well, it's all good.
Too smart for its own good sometimes, Photoshop.
I know. It's like I knew exactly what you were trying to do. No, you didn't. I'm so sorry. You were so close. Okay, I'm gonna try this one more time. Let's see if we can get it. Oh yay, that's working.
Almost,
now.
Yeah, there you go.
Cool. There we go. Now it's working a little bit better. Cool. All right, that is gonna be good enough. Actually, it took away my hat. Why did it do that? Okay. Okay. So we have that. So I'm gonna create that as a new layer. I still want this rock. So just to make it easy, I'm gonna just select, I want this foreground rock still. Wow, oh, it's because I'm on the wrong layer. Honestly, most of the time, if you're having issues with Photoshop, it's because you're on the wrong layer. Yeah, I'd say 90% of the things that you've probably been like, Paige, what are you doing today? Is because I was clicked onto the wrong layer.
I'm guilty of that so much. Oh.
It's
a lot of times just the wrong layer.
You know, I've gotten used to it now. I'm just like, oh, gotta check my layers. Which one am I on? Which one am I on? Okay, cool. So now we have that. I'm gonna merge these two. And now we have little me that we can put on a new rock. So I am going to do a couple of things to make this perspective work. So I'm going to grab and I'm going to place myself in the right spot here. As I mentioned, I want these to be a little bit higher for me. And they're huge in real life. Like these pictures, you have to shoot at a pretty wide angle. These things are massive and they feel and look so much closer. And so I actually want to shrink myself down a little bit so that I can really emphasize how big those actually are in real life. Alrighty, so I'm going to place myself compositionally. It's going to go boom, down here. So I'm going to place myself right there. Okay. And then what I need to do is I need to get rid of some of this stuff right here. So let's see how this is going to work. Okay.
We have about a minute. And then we'll transition to the artist spotlight. We don't have to do it right at 0. We can just go there when you find a good stopping point.
Okay, no worries. I'll be good to go whenever. So just let me know. All right,
Ooh,
so I'm kind of like,
nice.
I'm kind of piecing together
Yeah.
like some things, and then we'll have to blend it all together. So it's a fun game of.
You're like a little landscape architect here.
I know. I know. It's fun. Good stuff. Okay, so let's see how that's going to blend. I'm actually going to put this like further out here. Blend it about right. Yeah, I'll blend it about right there. And then we'll be able to get rid of some of this. So we'll have to replace some of this area with more of this. And there I am again on the wrong layer. Okay, here we go.
Cool. So I'm gonna let you finish what you're doing right now, and when you feel like you have a good stopping point, we can head on over to the artist spotlight.
Okay, that sounds good. Let's just quickly do the content aware because I love that tool. It's awesome.
Oh yeah, we have an evangelist. His name is Rufus. I'm sure some of you may know him in the chat, but he kind of coined things like this that are just straight up magic to us. He says, Adobe Cadabra.
Totally.
Adobe Cadabra.
That's true. Let's see. Okay, content aware fill. Here we go. Okay, really quickly. Let's get this and see how it goes. See how it decides to do this for me. All right.
I'm just gonna second what Wade is saying in the chat. Use that artist spotlight tab above the chat to submit an artist you think that deserves a spotlight. So we do these every Tuesdays and Thursdays. So if you have a friend or someone you know that could be featured in our show, go ahead and submit them to the artist spotlight. We could give them the feature next week.
That's awesome. Super cool. We can take a break. Let's go see
Cool.
what you're wanting to do.
Let's do it. So we're gonna transition to the artist spotlight. All right. If you want to pull them up on your end page, we'll do
Yep.
this together.
Got it.
Boom. Awesome. All right, here we go. So who we have today is Andrew Foss. Congratulations. Let us know if you are in the chat. So let's have a look at some of their photography and just call out what we like. And anybody else watching this, go ahead and give them a follow. Let's give Andrew some love. Artist Spotlight is all about highlighting people in the community that we're all part of. You're part of the community if you're watching this. So let's give Andrew some love. Go ahead and follow him. He's got an Instagram, a LinkedIn page. Let's go ahead and give him a follow and some love. All right, Paige, what stands out for you? What photo or project would you like to see first?
Oh, let's see. Okay. I think, well, the one that stands out instantly is the Italy on film.
Italy on film.
It's
This
the
one,
one
right?
to the
Top
yes.
right? Okay.
Yes, top right.
Let's check this one out. All right, so it looks like he developed this himself.
are
Wow.
Beautiful.
These are
Oh my
awesome.
gosh.
So let's have a look at these.
I'm obsessed with black and white, and I'm so impressed that these are all film
Yeah.
because film is a whole nother level of photography. Like,
Oh yeah.
and I love it. I love the effect that it has. It's so cool.
I agree. This almost looks I mean, I know this was shot in modern times, obviously, but it really gives it this super vintage look.
It does.
And
It
you've
really
developed it.
does.
So we have Andrew in the chat. Andrew, welcome. Thank you for joining us. Let us know some of the details about this project. What did you shoot this with? How you developed it? Do you have your own darkroom studio, or did you go somewhere to develop it? So super beautiful.
Wow. This bridge right here, actually, I have a picture of it. When I first started doing photography, I went to Italy, and I have a picture of the same bridge, but this
Nice.
one's much better than mine.
I believe this is
gorgeous.
the Ponte Vecchio in Florence.
Mhm.
So I also lived in Florence. It's the only reason I know
So
that.
cool.
It's a beautiful city. So picturesque. It's not even funny.
It really is.
This is a great
Oh my
photo.
gosh.
I like this one.
Yeah, I do too.
Very, very original. I
So
like it.
many vibes.
Lots of vibes here.
Oh, I love the effect that the film has. It's such like it's almost, it's not grainy. It's like, hmm, what's the right word? It's like just has all the little like distortions or the little
Yeah, like
like
all the vintage,
imperfections, but they
right.
look so cool. Like they look so intentional.
And you know what's funny is a lot of people try and emulate the film look, right? I mean, there's all sorts of presets that try and go for a look like this.
Yeah.
And of course, if you just shoot it and develop it, then you kind of get this naturally. So it's funny how this sort of like older style of photography is something that's sought after with just
I
like
know
digital
people
programs.
try to
But I
replicate
mean,
it
you definitely captured this in this project, so
so well.
very good stuff.
You go
Cool.
forward a couple of pictures. Let's see this one down at the bottom with I love this
The
line that goes through the center
this
of
one right
them.
here,
There's a
yeah.
couple of them that have that line that goes through, which I love. I think the effect is so cool.
That is cool. And I wonder if that something you developed, or was it maybe because the picture was folded hot dog
Yeah,
style?
it does look like, that's why I like it, is it looks like the picture's been
Mm-hmm.
folded and like saved and then pulled back out, which I think is such a cool effect. So
Awesome.
very, very cool.
Cool. All right, let's have a look at another project.
Okay.
Speaking of the Ponte Vecchio, let's look at this. More Florence. Oh, this time in color. Wow. You're jack of all trades, my friend. Let's see what we
Which
got.
one is he? Which one are you going into?
I'm in the Florence one.
The Florence one.
Oh, I see. Hold on. There we go. So it's the one with color. Yep, there you go.
Oh,
Cool.
got it. Okay, cool.
So we're looking at Florence now in color. Ooh, that's a great shot.
I love the reflection on the next one as well. Oh, that one's pretty. The one that you're on is really nice. I love the framing.
Oh, the reflection one. Yeah, let me see if I can get to that. This one.
Yeah, that's gorgeous.
That's a great photo. You have a great eye, my friend. This is really cool. And he actually commented, he shot this on a Nikonos 5 and developed this in my study abroad school's film lab.
That's
Did you study
awesome.
abroad in Florence as well, Andrew? Let us know.
So nice.
There's the Duomo.
I love that place.
Did you get to go inside the Duomo when you were in Florence?
I did. It's gorgeous.
This is cool. Let us know what you shot.
Oh, this is
with.
that. I think this is that same bridge, huh?
Yeah, it's the Ponte Vecchio.
So cool. I love the long exposure blurring that he did.
Yeah.
So nice. Ooh, I love that.
The authenticity of the city.
Yeah, the city type vibe.
Yeah. Great shot.
Oh, that light. That's perfect.
Andrew, you have a great eye, my friend.
Yeah, these are
This is
fantastic.
very good stuff.
I love the motorcycle moving effect.
This is okay. This kind of fooled me. I thought he was looking at a rear view mirror of a car, looking back at the Duomo, but no, it's just through a chain loop. But this is great composition.
That is cool. That's really creative.
Super creative. Oh, and of course, our hero image of the Ponte Vecchio.
It's such
Very
a
beautiful bridge.
Nice bridge. Did you take this? He must have taken this. I wonder if he was like on a boat. Can you stand across from it on another bridge to take this shot? I can't remember.
There's a couple bridges that go across this river, and one of them does look at the Ponte Vecchio. I think most of them don't have like the roof over you or these arches. They're kind of open air.
Got it.
Yeah.
You can see all those little sun flares that he has on the lights.
Yeah, all these little guys right here.
Yeah, if you put the aperture up higher, you can get that effect.
Okay, so we shot these color ones with a Sony A6000.
Very cool.
Good stuff. All right, let's have a look at one more project, and then we can bounce back to take us home. Anything that sticks out, Paige, or you want me to choose something?
Ooh, let's do, I mean, are you okay if we do Vancouver?
Let's do it.
Down at the bottom. It's
got
down
it.
at the
I see which one you're looking at. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Vancouver.
I've just never been, so I'm like, I need to see.
I've never
I need
been
to
either.
see it. Ooh, I like that. I love the car shot, like that light, that glow.
Did you get paid for a Subaru commercial?
So nice.
This is
I
pretty good
know,
stuff.
right? It's so pretty.
Going places, Subaru.
I like how you have a very diverse like editing style too. Like you really like play around with like some of like the vintage looks and things like that, which is really nice.
Yeah, these are
Those
really
clouds.
great shots.
the clouds behind that bridge that's solid.
Was this also off your A6000? Let us know.
That picture's big. Oh my gosh, the green.
Very mossy. I like this shot actually. This shot really stands out for me.
Me too. It
There's
reminds
many-
me of
Sorry, go ahead.
Oregon. It reminds me of Oregon, like some of the mossy forests there.
Yeah, I think, is it Steve? Are you the one that's from New Zealand? Let me know. This actually reminds me a lot of, it's off Mount Taranaki. It's called Egmont National Park, I believe. There's a forest that's called the Goblin's Forest, and it's got all these types of moss just like this, and looks super like witchcrafty. This reminds me a lot of it. Really captured the reflection on the moss well, I think. Action shot.
I know, right?
It is a
I
great
love
shot.
this one. This is what caught my eye.
Yeah. Was this a drone or were
pretty.
you just on an epic mountain?
It's so pretty. The detail, like the boat with that line going back behind it, it's just perfect. It's so pretty.
Yeah, Andrew says this was his
So nice.
A6000. He's loyal to the Sony.
I love it. Sony.
Yeah, this is good. You have a great eye, my friend.
Yeah, these are
All right, everybody.
gorgeous.
Once again, give Andrew Foss a follow. Let's see, this is probably his Instagram. It's thinking. There we go. Here's his Instagram. Give him an Instagram follow as well. You're very talented, my friend. We're going to keep an eye on you. Good stuff.
Those are solid. Seriously, so good.
Cool. All right. So we have about 15 minutes. So let's get back to Paige's screen. And
Yep, like I
she's gonna
said,
take
we'll
us
just
all the way to the end.
Yeah, we'll get as much done as we can. I might even kind of like skip past some of the more boring stuff to to make it go faster. But all I'm doing right now is I'm just kind of trying to clean up this content aware. Did a pretty good job as usual, but we'll have to clean it up. So we'll do it a little bit and then we'll see how we're looking on time. I do want to get rid of this and blend this. Okay. So we have a couple of things to tackle. So this it's not quite what we want. So I think I'm going to actually do some clone stamping on top of it. And then we can darken it when we actually go in and edit it, so that it's less noticeable if there is any blurs down there. Let's see. I'm gonna need to make sure I'm on the right layer. First things first.
Nice.
And let's see. Okay. Wow, it's trying to put our tree.
Where's that ocean coming from? Yeah, what's going on here?
Should we just we'll do a really intense composite. That's what we're gonna do today.
Ocean and desert somehow.
Yeah, somehow make that work. We'll put the Golden Gate Bridge like between these two rocks. Yeah, that'd be nice.
We'll Hollywood style it.
Yeah, solid. Oh, my opacity is down. Okay, here we go. So I mean, you really can this clone stamp tool is pretty awesome. I'll have to fix that little piece right there, but instantly that just fixed a lot of the weirdness that was happening. Sure. I'll need to go like this, get kind of rid of that. And let's see. Okay. So we're not going to do this perfectly just because I want to make sure we get to other stuff, but you can see that already did a pretty good job. And then sometimes you can see when you clone stamp, you can see that there's that there's things that are replicated. So for example, this is that. So then I always go back in and make sure that there's no obvious duplicates in the picture.
Right,
so
kind of give it away.
That give away what you're doing. So I'll just kind of go in and do that. Make this more soft. So yeah, I'll clean this up a little bit, but that actually looks pretty solid for a quick job.
Yeah, it's looking good.
The content aware tool and that clone stamp are solid. Okay, cool. So now, I mean, before, like I said, I really wanted this kind of circular look and I wanted more of the picture in it and more of the sky. We could even, let's see, where am I? Right. I need to have this one in there.
Got all the pages.
I know. See, this is why you name your layers. I'm so sorry. I'm like, which one is it? Not that one. It's the top one. Didn't see that there was another one up there. Okay. Oopsies. Cool. cool. So I'm even going to move myself down a little bit more so that we have an even more drastic mountain. Make it a little smaller.
It blends in a lot with the other rock, the way you had it. Like, yeah, look at
oh,
that.
yeah,
That's
like that
crazy.
line
Like
right
that,
there.
right, exactly. Fools
Yep,
me.
you're right. I'm going to just actually like scooch that over so it's nice and perfect.
We have a fun fact from Steve I'm going to read out.
Yeah,
So it's
please
the
do.
Vancouver Bridge. I wonder if the Vancouver Bridge is the one we saw from Andrew's portfolio. Let us know. Anyways, that Vancouver Bridge is the Lionsgate Bridge. Gate in the bridge title means same bridge company as the Golden Gate. Very cool. Did not know that.
I didn't know that there was like bridge companies.
Yeah, I guess anything with gate on
I
it.
guess I know. I was like, I
Gate
guess you
Bridge.
kind of have to. That's really cool.
Cool. Thanks for letting us know. Good stuff.
Yeah, that is super cool. All right, I'm getting rid of this so that we can blend it.
We got Claudia in the house. Claudia from Print My Soul. Good friend of ours, part of the Adobe Live family. She's live with us quite often, and she'll be live actually with the Illustrator Daily Creative Challenge. So stick around for that.
Awesome.
Very good stuff.
Alrighty, now, okay, so I'm switching between layers to blend. So I did just kind of blend in this right side into this hill. Now I need to blend this area of the rock. So I'm going to click back onto my top layer and I need to create a layer mask. And I'm going to just erase this a little bit. Look at that. You can not even tell what I did.
Paige, the landscape architect.
Just creating rocks left
some
and
people
right.
create composites. Paige creates rock.
I create rocks. I love that. Okay, so let's do a really quick sky replacement. Okay, let me blend these together so that I just have less layers that I'm working with. Actually, we don't even need to do that technically. So again, I could do the like where they do their sky replacement for you, where Photoshop does it. This is such an easy sky replacement though, that like it's super easy. Like I'll just go like this. I'm going to erase, I just need to be on the brush tool. I'm going to erase this bottom part. So the reason I'm using the sky is because it's also from like the same day. It was from, this was at sunrise, and then this one over here on the left was at sunset. I don't know why I do that. I just always like to like take skies from like similar locations, similar days.
Yeah, more ammunition to work with. Why not?
Yeah. I also need to flip this sky. So I'm going to click here, right click, not on the brush tool. Let me do that. Let's see. Actually, I may need to merge that. And let's do flip. There we go. Okay. Nice. And I'm just going to put it up here on the top. And I'm going to do, before I do that, I need to be able to see higher. I'm just going to do a really big crop so I can kind of work with all of my different squares before we make it one. Okay, so there's that. And let's put this up in the sky. Oh, did it unflip itself? I think I may have accidentally undone it.
I think so. Yeah, I think the sun was on the left side.
Yeah, I must have hit Command Z on accident. Sometimes I do that. Oops. Okay.
Claudia's saying, Paco, I love your office plants in the background. Well, you know, some people have digital art. I have digital plants. These are not real. I think actually Jean caught wind of that earlier. He's like, green screen. I'm like, yes, this is very much a green screen. You do not want to see what's actually behind all this. It's a mess.
I know. I felt self-conscious when he had his green screen. I was like, oh no, do I need one of those? I feel like I need one of those.
Yeah, we were talking about this on the pre-stream call. I have an L-shaped desk. So there's actually like a giant desk right here, but I put a green towel over it and it keys out. The things you do in the studio.
The things we do. And then I just don't have one, so this is what we get.
Yeah, but this is work from home ages. Anything's acceptable.
Yep. Totally. Oh, I'm gonna make this a little bit bigger just so we have a little bit of room. I'm just dragging it around. All right, and then now I will blend it in a little bit better.
Looking good.
And the other thing is I hadn't, so when you upload your file, when you upload one of your own personal pictures into this sky replacement thing, I believe, and Pocky, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you actually have to edit the photo. Like you have to edit the sky, and then you, like if you want it to be edited at all, you'd have to edit it and then save a file and then upload it. And so, or else it will just upload the raw file in here if that's what you select. And so anyway, that's one reason why I'm doing it this way, is because I edited this beforehand, and I want the edited sky in here, not the
not the raw
sky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but you might be right. So I can't confirm
I believe that's how it
that.
works.
Yeah,
that's okay.
That makes sense.
No worries. I think that is how it works. I haven't been able to perfect the sky replacement tool yet, but I've been messing around with it to learn a little bit more. So let's see.
It's a pretty good blend.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a very similar sky that works pretty well here with the lighting and all that. So
yeah, the more you shoot
blend it
correct on site, the less work you'll do in post. You know.
I know. This is a totally
Work smarter, not harder.
don't ever do what I'm doing right now. That's what we're trying to say.
No,
Never.
I'm saying this is good though, because you shot this at the same location and the same sky more or less, so it actually blends well.
Yeah, it does blend pretty good. But what would have been ideal is if we would have just gotten this composition so that I didn't have to do all this afterwards. So that's learning lessons for me, for sure. Sometimes in the moment, I honestly get super excited. I'm so excited when I'm in the moment at these locations. I just think they're so cool. And sometimes I can't think straight. And then I leave and I'm like, I didn't even take a good picture of that. So it's fine.
That happens a lot. Yeah. That's not necessarily a bad thing, right? Because I've actually struggled with this, but when you shoot, you're getting all these amazing photos. You're just actually not being present and enjoying it. So sometimes you're just so present that you don't really get the shots right. But
yeah, and that's probably better, truly.
Yeah, it's not a bad thing.
Just
you enjoyed the moment, but yeah, a little more work in post.
It is a little bit more work. Okay, so compositionally, I'm gonna line that kind of up in the center. I kind of like that. So it's gonna be like boom, boom. Got that little zigzag right there.
Boom.
I'm putting me as a person on the right third of the photo, and yeah, I think that looks pretty good. So let's call that good. And I need to crop it in a little bit more. I did not get it up enough right there. Okay.
Looking good. A little bit of a time check. We have about 3 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. Some last minute touches, or if you're gonna call it a day, let me know.
Yeah. I mean, the only last minute touch, you know me, is gonna be that haze
Dodging and burning?
I added.
Oh, the haze.
This one, you could dodge and burn. I would dodge and burn down here in these like shadowy areas. And then, yeah, you got this. It was already such a hazy day that this will actually like look really nice and natural putting this in here in this back corner. And then go to that soft light blend. And then, yeah, if we really wanted to, if you dodge and burn, I would have to merge a bunch of these layers. Let me make sure that worked. Yep. Okay. Actually, yeah. And then for the dodging and burning, I think burning would actually be more necessary in this exact picture. Yeah, we could just do these areas down here where we did a bunch of the clone stamping. So that it's a little bit less noticeable. Just, we don't care. We don't care if people look at this down here. We don't really want them to. So we're gonna draw more attention to the other part of the picture. This one doesn't need a whole bunch of dodging and burning just because there's already so much like pretty light.
Yeah, it's already got that natural like dodging and burning almost.
Yeah, pretty much. So
Devin's asking, what are the brush settings for that? I think the haze maybe?
For the haze. Oh, so the haze is I create a blank layer. I select like an orangish color and I bring the exposure down to like 30 or even less. And then I just have a very like, I just put like a very light haze over the top of it, or not the exposure. I'm sorry about that. The opacity down to like between 10 and 30. And then when you put it on there, and then you'll have to go over here and change this to soft light so that it blends. So, yep.
Good stuff.
Cool. There we
Right
go.
on.
I'm surprised we finished this. I did not think we'd be able to finish it that fast. I was like, we got to do this so quick.
Speed edit. That came out great. Good job, Paige.
Cool. Thank you. Thanks everyone for joining in.
Well,
I hope that some of it was helpful, and I'm sorry my computer was having
no, it was all very
weird
helpful.
hiccups.
Just dropping knowledge bombs on us with photo composites and editing. All right, everybody. Well, that pretty much puts us at time. So we're going to wrap up here in the next minute. Don't go anywhere, though. Stick around because, of course, we have a lot more stuff coming up. There's a slide. So we got the Illustrator Daily Creative Challenge coming up with Claudia, followed by Packaging Design with Emily, XD Daily Creative Challenge with Howard, Draw Along with Kyle, and a Creative Encore with Kimi J Design. So it's been an awesome past few days. Paige, always an honor. Thank you so much for coming back with us on Adobe Live and showing us. Yeah, anytime. It's been great seeing you work your magic, showing us all these tips and tricks. I've learned a lot. I'm sure the chat has really learned a lot too. So again, thank you everybody for joining us. Don't go anywhere. A lot more to come, and we will see you all next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.